All right. I said that this time period, these few days after the free agency, I don't know what you would call it, partition, the free agency signing period partition, I guess you could call it. I said these couple of days were going to be huge, and they have been huge. Yesterday was either the first day or the second day where you could sign players without losing future draft picks. And we signed two guys last night, and it was great. And now today, it's almost 3 o'clock. We've lost two players, and it sucks and it's depressing. But I said these 2 days were going to be big, and I think the next few days have the potential to be big as well. But let's go over what we have right now. So let's start with last night. I'm at the casino, I'm on my phone, and I get some great news. The Seahawks have done what I have been wanting them to do for a couple of months now, what I've been anticipating that they were going to have to do, and they went out and picked up Ezekiel Ansah, defensive end from the Detroit Lions. 6-year veteran over there, had several really good seasons rushing the passer for them. So that is the big thing right now. That is the thing that we as fans should obviously be focusing on because this has the potential to make or break whatever we're going to be in 2019. This could be the difference between us being a good team and a great team. So, Anza, clearly very talented. He's produced significant amounts in his career. 2015, he had a 14 and a half sack season. He made the Pro Bowl. 34 quarterback pressures that year in 16 games. Um, Good, solid defensive end, very quick. I mean, that season is as good as what Frank Clark had last year, basically. So that year, he was one of the best defensive ends on the planet. The year after, he didn't do very much, but 2017, just 2 years ago, in 14 games, 12 sacks, and 17 hits on the quarterback. Pretty solid. He was able to put pressure. And then last year, didn't show up, didn't do very much once again. He got hurt. He only played in 7 games. He wasn't starting very much. He only started in 2 games all of last year. Only just the 4 sacks. Became really a part-time player in Detroit and was not a surprise to see the Lions let him go. So you can see where he's been very good. His first 2 years in the NFL, he was a solid contributor. 8 sacks, 7.5 sacks, good numbers for a young player who was just making his own, just making it into the NFL. And you can see where he's been a stud in his career. But there's obviously there's this other side with it. He's injury prone. He's missed a couple games in each of the last 3 seasons. He missed a bunch of games last year. So he's not somebody you can depend on to show up for every week. And I can say it right now. If the Seahawks are expecting 16 games out of Ezekiel Ansah, we're probably going to have a very bad time of it because it's just not probably going to happen, unfortunately. So what we need to do is get good stuff out of him when we do have him. Hopefully it's for like 13 or 14 games. Maybe it'll just be for 12, 11, 10 games. Who knows? But I figure we need at least that. So we land somewhere between those two numbers of 10 and 14. And we need to make sure we get good stuff out of him in those games because he immediately becomes the best pass rusher on this team, I think, just based off those two really, really good seasons he had when he combined for across 30 games. In 30 games, those 2 seasons, he had 26 and a half sacks. So we need him to produce on that level for us. We need him to take the pressure off of Collier being the main guy because I don't think Collier is ready. We need to take the pressure off of Rasheem Green, who I think should take a step forward this year, but he still is going to need other players to make it easier for him. And the contract, 1 year, which is beautiful, 5.5 million guaranteed, absolutely amazing. I thought he was going to get more than that. I really did. I thought he was going to get like 8 million guaranteed. We got him 5.5. He could make up to like 13 million or 14 million if he meets certain um statistical milestones, I think. But if he does that, then he'll have earned that money. So it's a dream. It's absolutely perfect. We have no money committed to him beyond this year. We're just gonna see what he has, and hopefully, hopefully it works out for at least the one season. Because I am not in love with LJ Collier as a rookie. I think he's going to be a good player. I am not convinced he's going to be a very good pass rusher as a rookie. He's got to show it to me for me to believe it. I'm not sold that Rasheem Green is suddenly going to become a superstar. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to develop into becoming maybe a great player. I'm not convinced it's going to happen now. I'm not convinced that Cassius Marsh is anything more than what he's already been in his career. Nothing about these pass rushers on this team right now has me convinced. I'm not even convinced about Jarran Reed. Jarran Reed had 10.5 sacks last year. I feel like that's a little bit of an aberration. I feel like he could regress to like 6 or 7 this year, and I would not be surprised or disappointed at all. I don't see him as being, the Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt type of I'm a defensive tackle that gets after the quarterback kind of guy. But what we are doing now is we are giving ourselves multiple shots. We are giving ourselves multiple opportunities to luck out, hit the jackpot with one of these players, and because we give ourselves so many chances, we should hit with a couple of players, and that should get us to a respectable pass rush for 2019. So, Ansah is on board. Excuse me. Well, little tired still. Uh the fact that his contract was so small in terms of guarantees makes me concerned that he might not be ready for week 1, which could be a problem, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I would like one more guy. There are a couple guys I have in mind. I think Shane Ray is probably the most likely, but I'm open to a lot of different things now. We got to give ourselves more chances. We don't have any sure things on this roster right now except maybe Reed. We need more sure things in our pass rush stable. Second guy, much less interesting, but still significant, Jamar Taylor, cornerback. He was on Arizona and Denver last year. He started 3 games last year. He was a starter in Cleveland for 2 years. He had one season in 2016 where he actually had 3 interceptions and 13 pass defenses. So he's been a capable NFL player for a few seasons in his career. Like I said, those 2 years he had in Cleveland were pretty solid. But other than that, he's been pretty much invisible. Probably just another guy we're bringing in to give a chance to be, the dime cornerback or the 5th quarterback. And I think that when it comes to defensive backs, as long as Pete Carroll is our coach, I'm going to trust his judgment and say that he can get the best out of whatever it is we have. So, good news, just bringing in another guy who may or may not make the team. I'm not certainly convinced that he's going to do that, but he's shown that he can be a good player in the past. He had 2 decent years in Cleveland. So that's the good news. That's the stuff we heard last night. Today we got the sobering news. Number one is not surprising at all, and it doesn't really affect me because I've known it's coming for a while. Cam Chancellor gone, failed his physical, pretty obviously never going to play football again. And if he does play football again, that's probably a mistake on his part. And, he just needs to go have a good time the rest of his life. Whatever it is he's into, he needs to go embrace that because it's unfortunate, but when you play football the way Cam Chancellor does, it's not the most shocking thing either. So he's off the team. I don't think he's ever going to play football again. I've expected this for a year and a half now, so I'm not super sad about it, but it does suck because he was a very, very capable, special, all-around unique talent for a very good run of Seahawks football. And he easily could have been the MVP of the Super Bowl that we won. He was playing through a torn ACL in the Super Bowl that we lost. And it's tough, but even tougher today. We got the news on another career cut short. Doug Baldwin failed his physical. We let him go. He's not retired yet, but I have no reason to believe that he's ever going to play football again. It seems like it would probably be a mistake based off what we understand about his health, based off what we understand of what's going on with his knees, his hernia, his groin, just a whole bunch of stuff below the belt. It's just not what it used to be, and it's tough because Doug Baldwin, for a very short period of time, maybe a year and a half, was one of the best receivers in football. If you look at in 2015, the second half of 2015 and 2016, he was elite. He was as good as at getting open as anyone in the NFL outside of Antonio Brown. He was a red zone threat despite being, 5'10" or whatever. He was really, really special, and just like that, a few injuries, a few bits of bad luck, and he never gets to fully realize what I think he could have been, because I think Baldwin could have been a Hall of Famer if he had had the long career that some receivers are lucky enough to have, and he just wasn't lucky enough to have that. We will always have the Super Bowl. We will always have his run of, like, he caught like 14 touchdowns in 6 games or something insane in 2015. 2016, it looked like he was really going to become one of the best receivers in football long term. And now here we are. So that's something that I've halfway been expecting for about a month now. But now that we're here, there's no other way to put it. It's not fun. Not fun. But special, special talent. And I'm glad that the team took steps in the draft to try to mitigate this loss, but it is a loss no matter what. I'm glad that Lockett has been better than I expected to help fill that hole, but again, still a hole. So he's out. I don't think he's going to play football again, and it sucks. But so it is in football. What do you think about the new Seahawks? What do you think is coming? Because like I said, we are not done. We should not be done. I want one more defensive end, one more pass rusher, one more whatever, somebody on the defensive line. I feel like we need one more guy. McCoy, Shane Ray, Sue, Perry, whoever it may be, we need one more guy because we lost the sure thing. Frank Clark was the sure thing. Now we have a bunch of maybes. I need a couple more maybes, so I feel like we have a good shot at having some of those maybes come in for us. And if it works out, we might have a better situation than we did last year. Last year, we had two really good borderline elite pass rushers in Frank Clark and Jaron Reed, but nobody else really was getting to the quarterback. This year, maybe we won't have elite guys because I think Reed will probably regress in that area. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I feel like he will. But maybe we'll have 6 or 7 solid, good pass rushers. Maybe that'll work out better. Putting it out there, guys. All right. Big day, sad day, great day. It's everything all at once. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling shitty. It's bouncing around. That's what it is like to be a fan of a team in pro football. All right. See y'all later. Let's see what we got. Go Hawks.